Good host. Uh, and with that being said, no more shenanigans. I just want to get right into it with our first reader tonight, which is Kieran Collier. And I'm going to bring Kieran up here. Kieran Collier, they, them, is a Boston-based writer, educator, and former Boston Poetry Slam volunteer. They are the author of When the Garden Has Left, Wild Press 2015, and This to You, Beer Poetry 2016. They listen to sad music when they're happy and sad music when they're sad. Find them at kierancollier.com or on Twitter at Kieran Collier. And please, Kieran, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Very glad to be here. If every bite of fruit is a portal into a more plump reality where juice drips down the chin, messy and scarlet, then let each strawberry be a new wish, plucked a continent away and gifted from farmer to truck, to plane, to driver, to manager, to me, to the black belt of the checkout, to cashier, then once more back to me, smudged with dirt and fingerprints from the trip, yet this ruby fruit survives, nestled into plastic with its siblings, so gentle, almost like every touch pressed against gives way to a taste in which one act of joy is spun by 1,000 hands. There are billions of boys I haven't kissed yet, but each of them is a bite of fruit. And each of their fruity tastes is informed by fruit they themselves have stuffed selfishly into their mouths. I wish I was the fruit, or maybe just the taste that's left behind after molars grind everything to pulp, or maybe I wish I was that simple act where lips first kiss skin, or skin kisses lips. I never remember if one comes before the other, too captivated with touch, like how every morning the sun kisses the sidewalk, or how the sidewalk kisses my feet to send shivers through me. I walk under a tunnel made of trees each morning on my way to work and trace the bark, outline ghosts with fingers, though I couldn't tell you what lies beneath their skin. No better at calling an oak than, or redwood, or birch, each trunk the same, unless there is a fruit waiting for me to pluck a name given only through thirst. A tree gives birth to fruit and gives itself a name. I recognize the dressing of oneself tied to the names others bestow upon us. Pear, apple, strawberry, plum. I want to be a fruit. I want to be fruity, wet, and dripping from someone's mouth. I have not read poetry out loud since the pandemic first started, so I'm really happy to be here and incredibly out of practice. So thank you all for bearing with me. Figure in honor of the World Cup going on and the US winning today to advance. And then also the fact that I work for a soccer-based organization. I would read the one poem I have about soccer. This is a short one. My favorite part of soccer is when one player gets off a clean look only for the goalie to deflect the shot. The defending team applauds their goalkeeper for a goal prevented, while the opposing team applauds the kicker for orchestrating the goal attempt in the first place. When I imagine myself jumping off the roof of my apartment, I want to cherish that I do not. Though I think it's also worth acknowledging that joining you was one of the thoughts that brought me there in the first place. I can miss you and not join you in the same breath. It's the beautiful game. All right. I had asked Addie what poems they were interested in hearing tonight, and they told me to go tender, queer, and pop punk. So this is a poem about most of those things, although the tenderness could be argued, but it's definitely about queerness and it's definitely about Fall Out Boy. So if you're interested in those things, this is a poem for you. And if you're complicated about your love for Fall Out Boy, this is definitely a poem for you. It's called Me and Pete. Pete, I kissed a boy in Long Island while one of your songs pulsed in the background. It was a full kiss. My hands traced his beard like a warm blanket. You taught me how. At the garden, you nestled your head on Patrick's shoulder, buried your cheek into the fabric of his chest to carve a tender moment amidst the concert's chaos. A few weeks earlier, you leapt off a 2-story speaker, landed clean on your left foot, then got up and played it off with a smirk. So now you match your guy liner with a walking boot and that self-obsessed precision squire, the bat heart skull logo turducken you call the Bart skull. Ugly in name, tacky in application. I guess this is where I say I'm sorry for Googling your nudes. You tattooed the shape right above your penis. And I read this article online, how you'll kiss men in the stolen hours of evening. I wanted to see what that desire could look like, even if you drew a line above the waist, which is a waste of your imagination for what a man or anyone can be. It's a strange way of saying that I know I'm supposed to love you. It would be easier if I didn't. If I could unwrap a car from the sycamore it crashed into. That boy I kissed didn't love men, but I still managed to pull a brief moan from his mouth, a song we didn't yet know when these open doors were open-ended. Pete, I like to think of queerness as a door, freeing itself from the hinges, the maple of a bass thrown into the air, warped wood, and arboreal autonomy. You closed the show with Saturday, stripped off your hoodie and screamed into the crowd while fans tried to rip the cotton clean off you. I love that song and the album that bore it. I loved that boy too, for a moment. The two of you are the same, both in love with the sound of your own voice. Pete, I kissed a boy who went on to hurt people. You taught me how. You told your ex to drive off a bridge and I sang along. You wrote about lighting her on fire and I pressed repeat on your CD. I Googled your nudes. I needed you to be an awakening instead of a person, a phantom phallus preserved in pixels, tried to bury you in memory, divorced from your own violence, a body without a face. You could be any man, even the good one. And then this is the last poem before I pass it off to the other lovely people involved tonight. Before I get into it, I just want to express how grateful I am to be here and be a small part in Addie's book release. I've gotten to see Addie's development as a writer over the course of many, many years. And I think no one is doing ekphrasis as good as Addie is. No one incorporates pop culture and music into their poems as good as Addie does. And so I'm really excited for everyone here, for all of us to get to hear her read and then to get her book in our hands, because it's been a long time coming and I'm really pumped. This song is somewhat inspired by an indie band called Pedal, which is just a one-person band by Kylie Lotz, and incorporates a lyric of theirs as well. I recommend checking them out if you're interested. Drizzle sunflower seeds into a mess of leaves. We joke about domesticity as you pluck the knife I've just washed out of the drying rack to wipe it clean before it can rust. When did it get so personal? I can't remember, even though I've tried to mark a specific moment where things shifted and each of your swift actions began to mist across my eyes. I can't sleep still in the summer heat. So last week you snatched the extra fan from the living room onto my dresser. I want to cup your face in my palms. Each day you gift me 1,000 small pleasures. Today, you pull bread and cheese out of the refrigerator before the ask has fallen impatient out of my mouth. It's so silly how you slap my ass through the khakis you picked out. So silly how the lilies we pass by bend their stems in your direction. It's silly that we sometimes treat basic human decency as love, I know, but I don't think it's that silly to love through basic human decency, you know? I love you the way the grass in our backyard grows, one drop of rain at a time. Thanks so much.
Wow. Oh my God. What an incredible set. Please give it up for Kieran, everyone. Oh my God. Look at, I agree. I agree, Chad. Stunning. Like especially that last poem was beautiful. Like, wow, what a perfect way to kick this off. Okay. Readings and little gatherings, even virtual, just do that. I feel it. Like I feel the tingle now. I'm in it. I'm ready. Real quick, before I introduce Gigi, I just want to give a quick shout out to Game Over Books' very own Josh Savory, moderating tonight in the chats, looking over the video feeds, watching out for them trolls, and ready to put on the band hammer. So please, this is inclusive space. We all know why we're here. So be kind. And on that note, I want to bring in Gigi Bella. Give me 1 second here. Get you added. All right, all right. Gigi Bella has been ranked the 10th woman poet in the world. She is also a National Poetry Slam semifinalist and champion. Her book, Big Feelings, also Game Over Books, is available with Game Over Books and is a small press distribution bestseller. She recently made her comedy debut at the Albuquerque Funny Fiesta with a one-woman show that dazzled with her unique blend of stand-up, glam rock, and Mexicana poetry. You can find out more at gigibellapoetry.com. My cat is also a huge fan of you, just raving in the background right now. So with that being said, I'm going to let Gigi take it away.
Hi. Oh my goodness. What a joyous night. So happy to welcome this particular person to the Game Over Books family and to be a pressmate. Addie, I remember you sending me some messages and being like, hey, should I send a thing to them? And I'm so fucking glad you sent a thing to them. You are the poet who taught me that it was okay to be squishy and loud all the ways that I wanted to be, and that nothing was off limits. And I am just so incredibly grateful to you as a colleague, as a friend, and as somebody I just so greatly admire and long to be in a mosh pit with. I love you so much. And you make me brave. So I am going to read 2 newer poems tonight instead of just reprising things. I decided to write this poem last night because I was watching Wednesday and I was just thinking about things that make me feel the most myself, and you know, that thing about like 12-year-old me would think that I'm so fucking cool. And I don't dress up for boys. I dress up so that 13-year-old girls will tell me they think I'm cool. So it's kind of that concept, but Mexican. This poem is called Miércoles. When I was 17, no one would take me to the prom. I poemed in the courtyard, crowned queen of all rejection royalty. A family friend do-si-doed me simply to spite FOMO. We crab danced between bodies to split up couples who were standing too close. What I'm trying to say is, I walked so Wednesday Addams could jerk and wail and twist across a Netflix scene. I wore arm warmers and rip-off Airwalk Converse amongst a menagerie of Warped Tour tees and 2 big thrift store jeans. There were no TV shows about tragic brown girls like me, the ones who experienced grief too young, who knew the hum of hospital machines before the sway of a slow dance. We, the worshipers of lame and lonely, prayers at the altar of uncool, all Black outfits, only an invitation for every based slur in the book, and Hot Topic was home, and the weekends were quiet, and every other girl told stories about their first kiss in math class. Wednesday Addams deconstructs murder by rancheras howled quiet via polygraph. And I think every colonizer wishes we would look at death without the need to ask so many questions about it. Like it is a mother we never knew, a morgue we did not know we weren't supposed to sleep in. As a little girl, there were no goth Mexicanas to affirm my glittering morbidity, a catheter of blood before a prom punch bowl. Happiness is a language of survival. Assimilation is bliss. When Auntie Lola held a gun to her temple, they still rouged her cheeks for the coffin, a penchant for the grief we've learned to paint prettier. A boy told me once that brown girls don't have freckles, Just like a white boy to decide he knows everything about skin when someone is only longing to get closer to him, murdering a moment of acceptance I might have once had looking in the mirror to make sure beauty remains sacred. Only to survival, I do every stitch of sadness again. If it meant that every young goth mexica had a chance to feel fucking cool, to hear the soundtrack of their mother's gritos like soft emo prayer, to have everyone wish they were us for a change. My Gomez and Morticia mom and dad married 30 years, regaling us in fantastical memories of hair metal and mesh and hands held into the long forever. The image of black Dahlia cholas, cold immortal mommies, golden hoops and overdrawn black cherry lips, long onyx coffin claws, anti-affirmation that big brown eyes are boring in the face of every white girl's blue. Let every soft, squishy sangre mexicana tristeza find themselves setting fire to colonizers, playing a morbid musical movement hard alongside the flames, steadfast in the conjuring of their truest truth. The secrets only they can unearth. Let them be loudmouth and weirdo and trouble, then translate those words to powerful and unrelenting, wearing death to illustrate the irony of how fucking alive they really are. I'd relive my every heartache to pull every baby Chicana into the television set. Say, mira, mijita, they only act how they do because they are afraid of you, of everything you'll be. The right ones won't. Some of them just haven't learned all the different things the word beautiful can mean. Only we can truly protect the gentle long-stemmed rose of us, void-colored and vibrant. Only we can recognize that the strongest brujas look the prettiest in black. So that's my Wednesday Addams poem. And I'm gonna read this poem because I know that Addie loves it so much. And Addie's the person who taught me that the things that are holy to us are always holy. So this is a poem about Taco Bell. And I've got my sage lit and my candles so that I can bless the birth of this book. And I'll christen it with this, and then I'll let you go. I hate it when people say that Taco Bell isn't real Mexican food, that it's disgraceful as a Mexican to eat it. A bastardization of culture and recipe books, a kind of mourning over the fluorescent of the drive-through menu. It makes me think that they think that I'm fucking stupid. Like, I go to Taco Bell to reconnect with my ancestors, take a Diablo bath in my heritage, hail the cleansing powers of being baptized in the name of the Baja, the Blast, and the Holy Spirit. I can almost hear Abuelita's trembling voice whispering through the drive-through speaker, mija, remember where you come from. When I was a little girl, I watched my mother roll out tortillas with her bare hands to make the family recipe for the Crunchwrap Supreme. Your grandfather came from Mexico to work the Doritos Locos fields. They would call him in for dinner with the ring of the Taco Bell. Mija, it is your destiny to live más or not at all. It is what we dreamed for you. I build my altar of naked chicken chalupa and beefy 5-layer burrito. Pray the rosary of cinnamon twist and spicy potato soft taco. Heaven is dancing in the nacho cheese streets, surrounded by a stream of sauce packets. When the man at the drive-through window fills the bottom of my bag with an overflowing abundance of hot pepper nectar, I know that I have seen God. And then I feel immediately guilty for accepting such a blessing because I am the product of deep Christian Catholic colonization and I deserve nothing in the eyes of God. I am simply here to worship the glow of the purple glockenspiel. Drop to my knees when the app notifies me of the second coming of Mexican pizza. O holy Messiah, great defeater of the tomb, I will sing your praises until my earthly body is scorched, ashes to ashes, Dorito dust to Dorito dust. Okay, so maybe I am a Mexican with an unreasonable amount of adoration for the bell, but when I was a kid, I remember sitting around the table for dinner, my entire 6-person family breaking bread as we split up tacos soft and crunchy, an expression of my parents' love, or maybe just all they had to give. Taco Bell is the most Mexican thing I have ever eaten because it was the only thing cheap enough to feed all of us. And isn't that the most Mexican shit ever? Isn't our survival not allowed to blossom into the things that give us joy, love for the things that give us breath, defiance of the America that only wants us capitalism killed? God bless the $5 box. The time my brother wanted a beefy 5-layer burrito, but said 5E instead, and the entire car was a raucous laughter parade, a Baja Blast to float in when my wallet is empty, but my hot sauce heart is still full of fight. I do not care if I am not authentic enough for you. Most authenticity means cages at the border reduced to that one taco plate from that one place, you know, the one where the mariachi band plays, where they grind guac at the side of the table, the one where everyone lives to serve you, begs the Michael Kors purse and comb over in pleated pants for a good tip so they might still have a home tomorrow. The only thing authentic enough for you is our suffering. Solidification of our bodies under your boot. Fuck that shit. My Mexicana is what I say it is. It is 4 Mexican pizzas a week. My mother's smile, horchata and marigolds and breakfast quesadillas at the Taco Bell cantina. I order a yard of frozen Baja Blast. I dance outside of a wedding. I am more alive than you want me to be. I live más. Thank you so much. I love you, Adrienne. Everybody buy this book. Tell all your friends to buy this book. Tell the mailman to buy this book. It's going to be amazing. Yay.
Oh my God. Wow. Please give it up for Gigi. Honestly, even the bandwidth couldn't keep up with all that truth at the very end. With your second poem, Gigi, that was incredible. Thank you so much. To round us out tonight, we have Elijah Mann. So I'm going to bring Eli up really quick. All right. Elijah Mann is an NYC-based electro-folk singer and songwriter. Originally from Connecticut, he has made a name for himself in indie music scenes from LA to Austin and New England as a powerhouse performer with a knack for poignant lyrics. His cover of Carly Rae Jepsen's Cut to the Feeling gained critical acclaim and has now reached over 1.3 million Spotify streams. No big deal. In the fall of 2019, he released his EP, The Flooding Season, described as tumultuous and tender by Adrienne Novy. Now based in New York, Mann was featured at iconic venues such as Rockwood Music Hall, Berlin, and the Bowery Electric. In the past year, he was released Without My Breath, featuring Ella J, and Grammy-nominated instrumentalist Dr. Bloom, Mr. Wives, 21 Pilots, the slow-burning single Clementine, and a rendition of Leonard Cohen's Bird on the Wire for a tribute album produced by Adam Titzler. Mann's newest single, Bungalow Song, was released on October 14th, 2022. Please give it up for Eli, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much to Gigi and to Kieran. Y'all really just warmed my heart tonight. I don't go to enough poetry events, so this is a much-needed change to the routine. Congratulations to Addie on this amazing book. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait for the rest of the world to read it. You have, sort of what Kieran said, you've really mastered art inspired by art. And sort of in that vein, here's a song inspired by the most beautiful thing a robot has ever said. Dust storm, darling, where have you gone? I can't for the life of me find you through the darkening sun, but still I can hear you wherever you are. You tell me your battery's low and it's getting dark, but I'm keeping my watch, keeping my eyes on our breathless divide. I send you a message, I'm hoping that you can reply.
were soaring far from me, if it's to be that I'm not there when you leave, at least we had this opportunity. Dust storm, darling, shrouded in blankets of dirt. I'm trying to peel back the rope. There's something I need to unearth. The space that's between us, the granular blip on the screen. Will it give me a final right sign of life cue that you're drifting to sleep? Now I'm dreaming you're here and you're free of that rattling statical breath. I'm holding you tight like a child and I'm scared, 'cause I don't know what's next. I'll be seeing you in the morning. I remember when you were soaring far from me, if it's to be that I'm not there when you leave, at least we had this opportunity. So I'm trying my best not to act like you think you'll be in back home. Then you stayed like a fact, you got plans with me before you go. At least that's what I hear you say, like a prophecy heaven's away, or from an old familiar place. I'll be seeing you in the morning. I remember when you were soaring far from me, if it's to be that I'm not there when you leave, at least we had this opportunity.
Thank you. Got a tune real quick. Should turn my tuner on. So this is I'll give you a little bit of a tone shift, because that was a pretty little heavy song, and I'm going to play a song that's on a much lighter note. It's about how none of us are ever going to be able to afford real estate. Sometimes we just need some escapism, you know? This is called Bungalow Song. A moment. Just gotta make sure. Gotta make sure that it's gonna sound good. Once again, congratulations to Addie for this book to be finally out in the world. Come on, friend. All right. Sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Whose turn is it to hold it all? Witness the shrinking of my bedroom wall, so small. We should buy a little bungalow ways upstate, find a little quiet and we'll waste our days, make a little love and make another great escape. Cover all the walls with all our closest friends, say we'll see them whenever the end comes, and go out on the water and we'll see the stars again. I'm here, just tell me when. But I can't say everything is fine, but I gotta believe that things will be alright. But is that a lie? I've served and swallowed up like daily cyanide. We should buy a little bungalow ways upstate, find a little quiet and we'll waste our days, make a little love and make another great escape. Cover all the walls with all our closest friends, say we'll see them whenever the end comes, and go out on the water and we'll see the stars again. I'm here, just tell me when. And they say it's easier to blame the planets, curse the sky to stain the heavens, and never changing course despite the storm. But I can't keep a cosmic focus when rain is coming in through the window. I don't even know what else to do but dream of you. We should buy a little bungalow ways upstate, find a little quiet and we'll waste our days, make a little love and make another great escape. Cover all the walls with all our closest friends, say we'll see them whenever the end comes, and go out on the water and we'll see the stars again. I'm here, just tell me when. Thank you so much, everybody.
Wow, that was wonderful. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Eli. Everybody, Eli Mann. And with that, those are our openers. Please give a warm round of applause to Kieran Collier, Gigi Bella, and Eli Mann. That was so lovely to have that kickoff. And without further ado, I think it's time for the main event. So we're gonna bring her up here. Are we ready? Yeah, I think we are. All right. Okay, everybody. So Adrienne Novy is an artist, musician, and writer with cat eye syndrome. She is a nominee for Bettering American Poetry, the Pushcart Prize, Best of the Net, and is a 2020 graduate from the Hamline University's Creative Writing Program. She's the author of Crowdsurfing with God, Half Mystic Press 2018, and the mini-chapbooks We Have Each Other's Flowers, Zines and Things 2020, and Pole, Gingerbug Press 2020. Adrienne's most recent work can be found in Passages North and You Flower / You Feast, an anthology of prose, poems, and plays inspired by Harry Styles, of course. She lives in the Midwest and has a cat named Laurie. Please give all the love in the world, Adrienne.
Hi, everyone. This is really just an honor to, have such kind and talented openers and to have this book be welcomed into the world by Game Over Books. All right, I'm just gonna get into it. All right, So I think I'm going to start at the beginning of the book and then like we're just going to go wherever. The opening quote for the book is by Richard Sykin, who is my dear friend, one of my dear friend Bennett's favorite poets. And then we're just going to get into it. All right. Tell me how all this and love too will ruin us. These are bodies possessed by light. Tell me we'll never get used to it. Richard Sykin. A queer pastoral ending in Harry Styles bathing in a pool of flowers. If desire is a weed tangled in the current of the body, a milky lake of pink, I could drown in my ugly, ask to be weighed down by an embroidered silken dress. My friend says skin on skin contact is the queerest thing. I think it's just the need to be held, pressed against another and feel how unapologetic their bones are. I've only ever wanted to be a good girl loved by a good someone. A lamb bleats in the distance. A red door is slain with a lilac wreath. Each ew's cry sounds like a breath underwater. So this must be how we came from God, pulled from ocean silt and blessed with velvet names. Thank you. This next poem that I'll be reading, I felt pretty apt to do this poem because it's a golden shovel, and it uses 2 lines from Werewolf by Sarah May from their book Priestess of Tankinis. And that was one of the first few books that Game Over Books ever published. So this poem uses the lines by Sarah. I saw Timothy Chalamet tongue and apricot stone, and now I'm inconsolable. That's the first line. And then going down, it's, I keep finding my body like moths towards the light. This must be where Botticelli is buried. I saw Timothy Chalamet tongue and apricot stone, and now I'm inconsolable. I leave my toothbrush in my partner's sink, and my gums are lined with sugar. I harbor enough shame to build a second Vatican. Lady Bird, Billings Roman. I keep a print of the birth of Venus in the fog of my bathroom mirror. I am finding the pearls of me I thought I would become. I wonder what my body would be. It was not, in fact, my body, but instead a gallery of awkward and inconvenience. My want is strange to hear out loud, like I do not know which eggshell my embarrassment was scraped from. The moths outside know lust as an exhibition and have anointed themselves a church floating towards a newer canvas. I apologize the second attempt at sex. My partner wraps himself around me, the kindest warmth that forgives every light. Thank you. All right, this next one is called Timothy Chalamet Celebrates Tu B'Shvat in a Cabin in Woodstock, or I Play My Clarinet to Thank the Trees. For those of you that don't know what Tu B'Shvat is, it is a Jewish holiday where it's, for like lack of better description, it's kind of like the Jewish Arbor Day / the birthday of trees. So a lot of folks will spend time out in nature. People plant trees. There's a lot of reflection during that time as well. So it's like Valentine's Day, but for trees. Yep, that's it. Thank you, Lior. I thank you for that description. So Timothy Chalamet celebrates Tu B'Shvat in a cabin in Woodstock, or I play my clarinet to thank the trees. I play my clarinet to thank the trees and the songs they were carved into. My lip, pillow moss along my ancestors' gravestones. A pomegranate kiss to the wind. When my eyes are closed, I am married under a chuppah of willows. I am Bob Dylan in the forest with a harmonica. A hymn only to the ginkgos and vine-laden golems, the lush green of their mischief crackling under my feet. My own Jewish grandmother hated speaking Yiddish, claimed it was a dirty language. I run a cleaning rag from barrel to silver-traced bell, ashamed of the beauty of myself. I noticed particles of soil, a box of ashes on the table. Dirt means nothing else but that of the earth. A cat trills at the window to a bird outside in the snow. Thank you. This one I decided to read after Kieran's really wonderful, tender strawberry poem. And it's actually, the title of the poem comes from a tweet that Harry Styles put out before he released Fine Line. And it's called Kiwi Walked So Watermelon Sugar Could Run. I got high for the first time with the last love I had. I watched them quarter blue raspberry gummies on the nightstand in their apartment. A bushel of flowers trumpeting open through the blade of a table knife. In his interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Harry Styles points to the studio fridge as this is where the edibles are kept. Once, while recording, Harry bites the tip of his tongue and his chin is now rubied with sucrose. An hour later, my pupils are swelling like two berries in the dawn. I giggle into my partner's neck as my body floats between the dark and not. I live a gentle life with an icy pair of sunglasses drooling along my neck. I melt into the sheets like an oil lamp, as hungry as a mouth. A pearl of June. Summer begins crystallizing in the back of my throat. Thank you. This next one is for a few people in this room, specifically Shelley Chang and Gigi Bella. And it's also for the dear Kate and Stickles. And this poem, then Kate and Stickles, they are a model with cat eye syndrome, which is the genetic disorder that I have. This poem is called While Blasting Crazy on You and My Best Friend's Car. For the last 9 years, my crushes have been on bassists or audio engineers, so I've got the heartbreaker part covered. Cat Eye Syndrome is a love song because I say it is. Fragmented chromosomes as Grace notes. Dreamboat Annie genomes. Even my genetic makeup is dramatic. Wore glittering eyeshadow on the day I was born. Hell hath no fury like two sisters scorned. To dance like a duo of lynxes. Rediscovering each other as a clouder of bronze. My glasses do not dim the opaline sky of what I remember from being a sick child. For decades, I waited for a big sister to do my face in a dressing room. Smudge the liner around the creases of my eyes. It'll be perfect for our glossy autographed headshots. When the easy, breezy, beautiful is threatened to be cried off. Thank you. Sure I got poems in the right order that I want to do them in. Right, I do that one. After this one. Having a brain works that doesn't work as fun because you're just like, I'm gonna put this thing off to the last minute. Even though it's not always the best decision. So this poem is also, I decided to choose this poem after Kieran read their Pete Wentz poem. And this is also a kind of like a call for and regarding our love of music and oftentimes the problematic people that make the music that we consume. And so Kieran, this poem is for you that I'm reading out loud right now. It's called George Watchke stage dived and landed on my face at a sold out show at the Metro. This is very true story. George Watsky stage dived and landed on my face at a sold-out show at the Metro, and I spent 5 minutes trying to bend my glasses back into shape. And this was the first year after George leapt into a crowd in London from a 40-foot lighting rig and broke a woman's arm and was carried out on a stretcher. And there's a line in one of his songs about where he tried to spread his wings like he forgot that cardinals have hollow bones and find colorful ways to show off. And I am also young and impulsive and bought tickets to the concert in the Greyhound home because Becca, my best friend / big sister, was going, and she thought her boyfriend was going to break up with her. And so I guess being young comes with dropping everything and getting song lyric tattoos and writing about healing that isn't over. And the bus windows flashed into X-rays, and I listened to George's newest album when my dad picks me up from Madison and drives me 3 hours back to the suburbs. And I watched the flock of geese fly away from the winter. And everyone thinks that because I'm from Illinois, I have to be from Chicago. Like people from California must either live in Los Angeles or the Bay Area. I have lived in Minnesota for 3 months, and I shivered outside like everyone else. And I wanted to make sure that my glasses were fixed by the time I met him after the show, because I didn't want him to feel guilty about nearly ruining something for someone else. My friends wanted to show him their tattoos, and all I have now are Facebook photos and a good party story. Anyway, George played our favorite song, and when he did, the crowd nearly took flight. My sister took my hand, and we were both wearing Converse sneakers, and we jumped. Thank you. Alrighty. This next poem that I'm doing is for my former and fellow theater kids in the room. I specifically decided to do this poem for Eli, since I thought that he would also relate to this poem at a very big level. So y'all know Fiddler on the Roof, right? So this poem is called Tevia's Dream Reimagined. Every year, the choir teacher alternates between classical and modern. So this year's spring musical is Fiddler on the Roof. The cast bio traditions outside of the theater are about church and the birth of Jesus. Part of me wishes I auditioned for the pit orchestra. Part of me is grateful to not be the Jewish point of reference. My mom notices the baker on stage, and now she wants to go get bagels. You should get your symphony instructor to start a klezmer band. She squeals a whisper to me, and I become one with the crushed velvet seating. The boy I like playing upright bass cannot know I'm here. I tweet a photo from the kosher aisle after the show, and no one finds it funny. The principal clarinetist later tells me that doxing Nazis invalidates my stance on anti-bullying. Ketter grape juice in the shopping cart. Chava on the broomstick. Fiddler is her favorite. What she doesn't know is that Jewish people are made of magic. Anyone who's been afraid of a witch has been afraid of us before. If a ghost wakes her in the middle of the night, she must treat her as a house guest. Cut a slice of cherry cake. Fill a gentle cup with tea. Feeling that cold spot is an honor. It is my grandmother. She wants a word with you. Thank you. So this next poem, are we doing okay on time, MJ?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We have at least
You can
another 10 minutes. If you
another
want.
10 minutes?
Take as much or as little as that.
All right, 10 minutes. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm gonna do these. Okay, I got a couple more left. This one was written after a workshop with John Sands, and it's called Godspeed. What I think I'm trying to say is my body is good and I forgive her now for her craving touch and desire and devouring in a way that is not salvational in the name of prayer. I have so many crushes sometimes there are too many names in my mouth. I know queerness is a thing of God, and then so too is the body and the blood. While we are still dating, I tell my partner, I will probably bleed while we're sleeping. I could say that I'm sorry, but it's a thing that happens. This morning, a year later, and in my own bed, I awake to the cartography of red against the landscape of fitted sheets. I outgrow the lingerie. Fruits of the vine stretch across my hip bones. I go to the gynecologist's office because things like tampons and penetrative sex are so painful it's unbearable. And I want to feel good, and I want my partner to feel good too. And there they are, the three mandrakes screaming inside of me. Vaginismus, polycystic ovarian syndrome, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Of course it is spring. The daffodils are humming outside, and I miss simple things such as pleasure. On the bad days, I cry out for my body to no longer be my own. I name each follicle Rachel, Sarah, Rebecca. I want, and all I want is to want. Thank you. I'm going to do a little bit of a tonal shift. Two, I think, is maybe 4 more poems. Good, MJ?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. So, are folks in the room familiar with the Disney Channel show Phil of the Future? Okay, so the actor who plays Phil Diffie is Ricky Bowman, and when he was on Disney Channel, he ended up changing his name as an actor to Ricky Ullman, because he people thought that he would, because it's an Israeli name, people would think it sounded too strange or too foreign. But Ruby Bowman is also Jewish, and I also had a crush on him in growing up. So we're gonna do this. So this poem is also after Jasper's Kala, and it's called "I Want a Marriage," Philip Rupert Diffie. I'll wear a seafoam dress. He'll book a wedding in July. We'll grab peanut butter sandwiches off the kitchen counter and yell our thanks to Mom as we close the front door. A dream is a wish your heart makes. My heart wishes for a bat mitzvah and Jewish summer camp, where my bunkmates teach me Hebrew and even the mosquitoes are holy. I sing the blessing over the menorah on the swing set because I'm the loneliest Jewish middle schooler and you're watching Disney Channel. But before I abandon hope, there he is, hovering on a skyach outside my pre-algebra class, ready to show me how the bully's house is the ground's saddest star, and smash the last remaining wizard like glass under heel. The space-time continuum is a traumatic lineage we can't keep running from forever. The universe will carry us in its chairs. All right. This one. And then I'm gonna do this one. Okay, because we need more pop culture deep cuts, apparently. Well, no, we don't, but it's always. So this one, it's actually really fitting that Kieran is here because I wrote this poem after my experience for specifically parts of CUPSI 2016 and then parts of CUPSI 2017. And it's after Graceland 2 and The End is Near by Phoebe Bridgers. And so Phoebe Bridgers predicted the apocalypse, so we didn't have to again. When I say I'm back on my 2012 bullshit, I mean I'm 21 and engaging myself to the moon. I don't hate Texas, but I hate who I was then when I was sick and unforgivable there. We are miles from home and tornadoes of joy. Mary and Kari dance with me in the street to a fast food joint stuffed with poets. God tastes like a honey butter chicken sandwich, and Aaron can confirm that for you. The street light lamps are magic enough to be starlight. I'm eating jelly beans out of a martini glass while everyone in the hotel is sprawled out and laughing. I know I'm not okay but I can't ground myself enough to figure out why. I hurt people I love. I said things I didn't mean. I touch on memory. My hands are made of sieves. We drive to the bed and breakfast where our friends from Canada are staying. The garden out front seems perfect. A host brings us tea. A dog leaps to kiss my face before we leave in search of a hole-in-the-wall restaurant and local barbecue. I don't want to die yet because I want to hold hands with Bernard again. I haven't tasted joy in a minute. I want to get better. I don't get the help I need until 3 years later. The hydrangeas here are beautiful. All right, I'm going to do 2 more poems. So this one is about Call Me By Your Name, which I have a lot of mixed feelings about already as a text, and also as a film. As a text, because it's basically a 17-year-old having a relationship with a 25-year-old. And that's also just a lot to unpack. For that, the reason, and then also, second reason is fuck Armie Hammer. And also, it's Call Me By Your Name was also the first like queer Jewish movie that I've ever really seen. And also there's this scene where Elio and Oliver are in this like cafe outside in this small town, and they talk about being like one of the few Jewish people there. And I know that there's more like Jewish people in my town that I probably just don't know about, but I felt very isolated as a kid. And this is an abecedarian, and it's after the works of Hannah Cohen, Matt Mitchell, and Denez Smith. And it's called Elio Perlman is Jewish and bisexual, and it's important to me that you know this. The Adriatic Sea is a body of water, so etymologically I am born from pockets of salt, blood, curdled on an ocean drainage board. Elio places his fingers over Antinous' mouth, and both of us crave to be fucked or fawned over, gently, held at most. I too have wanted to run from the Venetian humidity of desire and place a star around my neck in my mouth. Jewishness and queerness, golden as in prayer. Kinohora, lit by oak and holy wax, Elio mutters this under his breath and spits 3 times, though no sin exists inside of him or his love. Marzia is kissed by Elio in an attic, his lips brushing where her bikini borders her pelvis. Never have I ever wanted to be that beautiful, quiet and seductive, royalty enough to envy the Melusines, softest vessel that I am, to touch myself and not find God, but instead understand the ways in which I unravel like a ghost, turn to vapor as a lover in July, while the peaches spread their blush across the grasses of Crema. Please, if you call me by your name, I'll call you to watch as the Zebucks pull into an imaginary port and bottle themselves back onto trains to America. The essence of the water on the shore is so fresh, you can almost smell the cigars. Thank you. And then this last poem that I'm going to do is about the first breakup that I ever went through. And it's like, you know, sometimes when you really love someone, but you realize that like both of you are not compatible for each other at all, and you want to make things work, but it's just not. You just can't. So this poem is about that, and like using as a reference, pop culture reference. It's the scene from Little Women, where Laurie confesses his love to Joe. And it's called Portrait of My First Breakup as Laurie and Joe on the Hill. Had we met 300 years before now, my heart would still be a petticoat galloping through Boston. clutching a heaving dress with rejoiceful inked hands, my hair unraveling from a crown of braids. I would like to live wearing a March sister's gloves, die as an oil painting in Rome, or maybe Paris, really wherever there is cobblestones and a field of sweetgrass and June bush to scream about love and nothing working, except for youthful platonic joy on the porch where we danced, our laughter as shadows beneath our heels. I should have known it would take me this long to accept you were right. We were too childish and stubborn, enough to tear letters into a river and peel like two forgiving swords. I hope you know if you need the hand of someone to be awkward with at parties, I will more than gladly take it. There will be a horse and carriage waiting. I will bring my finest silks. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much to Eli and Gigi and Kieran for opening. This is a really special night. Thank you to MJ for hosting, and also Jules Darling, the illustrator of the cover of my book, is here, and it's also really special to have them in the room too. So I think, yeah, every single time I do readings, I feel like I'm rambling, and then like my brain doesn't know where it's going. So MJ, you said you have questions for you have questions?
Oh, I do. I sure do. You're ready for me. That was wonderful reading. Thank you so much. This is an incredible book, and I'm really excited that people are going to have it in their hands within the next few days now that they've been shipped out. It's truly such a great night, and thank you once again to Kieran, Gigi, and Eli. Truly such a beautiful opening for this reading. But yeah, I do have some questions, and I do encourage folks too, if they have anything they'd like to ask Addie, to please throw it in the chat. I'd love to have some other things besides my own, but I do have some pre-written questions. You ready to so without further ado. So let's talk about your poem titles, okay? You have a tendency to write lengthy descriptive titles that invoke such a specific image or experience. It kind of feels like how a historian might write out their annotations during research or documentation about a historical event. And in the poem, sorry, I just need to take a drink before you. Logan Lerman stars as Jonah Heidelbaum in The Hunters and says the Beercat Agamel over his softest night, even with a drink of water. I stumbled to the very end of that. And you say, when history is not portrayed correctly, our bodies sense that something is wrong. Are your title choices a way of making sure that personal history is being annotated correctly? Is it your way of making sure the reader knows how to interpret the experience?
Wow. It's actually, it is definitely based on how I want the reader to interpret the experience. Partly because I write a lot about pop culture, and I, definitely write poems about, you referencing, albums that people may have never listened to, or magazines that people may have never looked at, or TV shows people have never watched before. So I want to at least try to open it up to the readers, like, hey, this is what you're getting into, and trying to find that middle ground between having references that people that are very familiar with the text will understand and will catch, but also that if someone's never like read or listened to or watched the reference text, they still feel like they're included, and also that they're able to appreciate the poem as well. But really also, and I was thinking about this question, and really also honestly, the long titles really just stems from, I come from the school of poems of Hanif Abdurraqib, and really that's all that is. He has really, really, really long titles, and I also didn't know that poems could do that. It's like, I want to do that, and that's kind of really how it really boils down to that, and then also just trying to make the poem as accessible as possible.
Yeah. Well, I love it. It was also definitely our book design abilities.
I'm so sorry. It's actually really
No,
funny because
nothing to apologize for.
no, I know, but it's Josh said he had to buy bigger mailers, and I felt attacked.
And actually, to follow that up, we have an audience question from Lior, and Ozzy has a follow-up question that I'm going to take down right now. With that being said, Lior asked, why do you like to write music about music and pop culture?
It's honestly just I have a lot of fun doing it. It's really kind of simple as that. But also I think it makes writing about really difficult, heavy topics a little bit easier. For example, one of a poem it's not in the book, but it's one that I've been like toying with for a while, is about, it's like easier for me to like, if I'm writing about disordered eating behaviors, and using the lens of how Timothée Chalamet, who is already a very thin person, had to lose 10 pounds for a role. It feels easier for me to talk about my experience through the lens of that, rather than just straight up going into my own personal experiences. Like, it feels like there's that buffer against my own personal experiences that makes it feel like I can't write about it at all, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that absolutely does. I totally get that. And we have a question from Gigi, actually. On the long journey towards the release of this beautiful, necessary book, how have your feelings changed? How do you feel about this book being in the world?
Oh, it's a lot of feelings. It's also terrifying because a lot of the poems in this book are very vulnerable. And like vulnerable in a way, like I feel like vulnerable in the way that like having one of those dreams where you're in algebra class and you realize that you're not wearing pants, or that you're just wearing a bath towel that's too small. It feels vulnerable like that. And it's just like, also, initially I was at a point where like, I would never want to look at or see these poems again. I hate these poems. And then I was like reading these poems now tonight, and I was like, you know what? I actually like genuinely appreciate the work that I put into this book, and the work that I did, and everything about it. And it's just like, it's definitely been a roller coaster, and it always is a roller coaster. And I'm really excited for people that I love to get this book too. I'm also excited for people that have, maybe need this book, that it gets to them too.
Yeah, absolutely, and you should be proud. It's such an incredible book. So to follow that up, so this collection has to do with, in a lot of ways, finding religion and spirituality from queerness and tenderness that is often dismissed in traditionally religious households, recognizing that you are allowed to exist as you are and be of the same faith despite how others might protest. What advice do you have for folks that are still struggling to have faith in themselves and that same sense of spirituality?
That's also like a question that I really don't know how to answer, because I also came from a very privileged position in that I don't have a lot of religious trauma in regards to my own upbringing. Like, my parents never really had me or my sister, I was like never expected for us to be religious or for us to really follow down that path. However, I do have friends that have been really hurt by the systems within organized religion. And I was thinking about one of my best friends from college, and how she told me that like she grew up very Christian, and finding a queer church where she felt like safe, and like that she found people that she was able to connect to. So I think, if anything, the one thing I would say to people that are struggling to find that is to really find that you're not alone in your experience. You're not. And there are other queer people that also want to feel connected spiritually and also feel like have been abandoned by, community. And I think, when we're able to find those people, it allows you to connect in ways that feel stronger and safer. I also am in a privileged position where, for me, it's like Judaism is both a religion and a culture. And I've always related to it both from the cultural aspect of it too. So if that makes any sense at all, I always feel like I'm just like babbling and I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth whenever I'm talking.
And shout out to the chat. I've been getting some great questions. So Kieran would like to ask, what went into structuring and sequencing of the book for you?
So the book has a playlist, and that definitely went into it. Some of the things that I think I also wanted it to be kind of a braided story. So like about my own relationship to my body, and then my own first romantic relationship, and then also the way in which my body interacts with other people's bodies. So with writing it, I honestly had the playlist. I knew that I wanted it to be a musical project. And so what I did, I have listened to that playlist so many times. It's not funny. Because what I do, I'd listen to the order of the songs and how they sounded next to each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of that went into ordering and structuring the project, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. I love that. That's really cool. So I think I'm going to give you two more questions, or if anyone else has a question they'd like to ask, just are out there. So I would like to ask, how did you decide upon Erev Gildene as the title for the collection?
So Erev means the eve of, or the evening of, and that's oftentimes like right before, the day before, like the evening before a holiday, because Jewish holidays begin at sundown. So that one's in Hebrew, and then Yiddish Gildene means golden. And the book went through, a lot of different titles, as, many books are, often do. But I decided to have part of it in Hebrew and part of it in Yiddish, because of the feeling of like having an identity that like sexuality that is often in between spaces, and like also the feeling how I felt like the feeling of belonging somewhere and then also belonging nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's great. And to round us out here tonight, so there are a lot of players in this collection, and I'm curious, in a perfect world in which Erev Gildene, the pop rock musical, is set to debut on Broadway, who would be a part of your dream cast?
Oh gosh, I thought about this. I really thought about this, and I was like, I don't know how to answer that. And then I thought about, okay, who would I want to compose? Okay, I think we already know based on. I mean, Raviv Ullman has got to be in it. Like, that's just a given. Like, that's just a given. But I was thinking about, okay, if I can't think about who I would want to be in it, who would I want to compose the music for it? And I was like, Boy Genius, hands down. And for those that don't know what the band Boy Genius, it is comprised of Julian Baker, Lucy Dacus, and Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
So I was like that. So that.
No, I love it. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. And okay, who would play you, or would you play yourself?
I really don't know.
Don't worry about it. That's just my silly question.
That's a question that like breaks my brain a little bit. because I have no idea. Would like it to be a Jewish actor though. That would be nice. That would be a Jewish and disabled or near. Gigi can do it. Yep. That's it. Just Gigi, which is like, yeah.
Well, on that note, everyone, that is our show. That is our night. Please give all the love to Addie right now. Incredible book. We are so proud and happy to have it out in the world. And to see people get their hands on it, please give a warm round of applause also again to Kieran, Gigi, and Eli. This has truly been such a lovely and tender night. Yeah, that's all I got for you. That's all I got. It's been really awesome. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, gameoverbooks.com or soon at your local bookstore.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.
All right.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
He arrives.
Did it.
Stop recording.
No.
Never.